damage she could be doing to herself.
I can't just stop her.
We're trying, sir, but... In my opinion, you'd best call the vet, sir.
Oh, a little job for you when you've got time, Donald. Yes, I'd like you to do a bit of research for me. Find out something about the structure of an elephant's jaw and teeth.
You mean go to the zoo?
No, you'd have to go to the university. Their zoology department should have something.
You're not going to try and extract that elephant's tooth, are you?
No, of course not. But if the worst should come to the worst, we've got to be able to explain to the directors at the zoo exactly why it's not possible.
You mean if you have to put the animal down?
Exactly.
Do you really think you might have to?
Well, this problem's been coming and going for some time now. Each time it's flared up, I've managed to remove the pain with analgesics, but that's only treating the symptoms for a time and not the cause.
Yeah, an abscess.
Exactly.
And you can't get rid of it with antibiotics?
Well, I've tried to do that. An elephant's a very valuable animal, of course, but it doesn't look as though I've been successful.
Do you know if anyone's ever tried to extract an elephant's tooth?
Oh, I've not heard of anyone.
And what about putting her down? How on earth would you do it?
Well, it would have to be barbiturates, I think. I wouldn't fancy shooting. There was a case a couple of years ago where a student was killed by a bullet that ricocheted from the skull of a zoo elephant in Scotland.
Wouldn't barbiturates be very slow? I mean, the strongest solution we've got is only 1 grain per cc.
True, but at least it's painless.
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to that. I'll try the university, see what they can tell me. But you never know.
Good. There's no hurry for a day or two. You could go on your afternoon off.
I'm happy to report, Mr. Chairman, that the takings at the gate were up by about 15% last month.
There you are. I told you what we needed was a bit of publicity.
And a bit of decent weather.
I agree, Mr. Chairman. I think the weather was the biggest factor. I mean, the zoo is an institution in the north. Everybody knows it's here.
Institution's the word half the time. Look, it's no good taking it for granted people know about us. We've got to keep on reminding them.
We advertise in the local press, don't we?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The advertising...
With respect, Mr. Chairman, I think we've got to be prepared to spend a bob or two. Cast our bread upon the waters. Every fisherman on the canal bank knows you never catch anything if you don't.
Does George have any clear ideas about this, Mr. Chairman? It might be better if you were to prepare a memorandum for us all to study.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do have some definite ideas. I think we should go in more for posters for a start. Have some really good posters painted to go up on important sites. Then we should think about closer cooperation with the Palace Theatre. They have lots of stars appearing down there, and it shouldn't be too hard to get some of them to make a personal appearance at the zoo, get the picture in the paper with our animals.
All this sounds very exciting, George, but the sort of things you're talking about, we need a full-time publicity manager. And I don't think Howard here would have the time to spare, would you, Howard?
No, I don't think I would, Mr. Chairman. I'm very pushed as it is.
Right then, let's get one. A good publicity manager could be worth his weight in gold.
He'd have to be the sort of man we'd need, would want a top salary.
Money well spent.
Mr. Chairman, I move that George Bedford be asked to produce a memorandum on this subject with costings before the next board meeting, so that we can all have time to study it and come prepared.
Good idea, Howard. Is that acceptable to everybody? Right, George, it's up to you. Next item on the manager's report, please.
The next item, Mr. Chairman, is the veterinary treatment. We've had 1 or 2 minor ailments amongst the stock, but mostly they've been successfully treated, though we have lost 1 or 2 of the smaller specimens.
What about that elephant? Any more trouble?
Mary, the elephant in question, Mr. Chairman, has been suffering from an abscess on the tooth, but we are keeping an eye on it, and Mr. Webb has been treating it with drugs.
Will she be all right? I mean, wouldn't it be better to take the tooth out?
Well, if it doesn't clear up, then the vet may have to operate, of course. But there is always an element of risk involved.
My grandchildren would never forgive me if anything happened to that elephant.
Worth a lot of money and all.
One of our main attractions. The kiddies all love it.
It is receiving the best possible attention, I can promise you.
Yes?
This is Mr. Webb's surgery.
Yes, that is correct.
Oh, thank God for that. This thing weighs a ton, you know. My Oscar.
Oh, yes. Well, what can we do for you?
I want to see Mr. Webb.
But the surgery's closed. Mr. Webb is not here.
Oh, sorry, I've come all the way from Eton Mersey.
Well, I'm sorry, miss, but you'll have to come back again at 4:30, unless it's a genuine emergency.
Afternoon.
Are you Mr. Webb?
No, I'm Mr. Turner.
Oh, yes. You're the one that was in the paper.
That's right.
Can you help me?
What's the problem?
I told this young lady that surgery doesn't open until 4:30.
Well, I've come all the way from Heaton, Mersey, and I can't hang about here all day. If you could just take a look at my Oscar.
Your Oscar? Well, is that your Oscar in there?
Yes. The poor darling.
Oh, all right, then, if you'd like to come through into the surgery, Miss,
Sexy.
What?
That's my name. Sexy. S-E-K-S-I.
I see.
Actually, my real name's Higginbottom, but I changed it for the stage, you know. I am an exotic dancer.
Right, if you'll just put the bag on the table, please.
I remember seeing your picture in the paper with that tiger. So when Oscar was taken ill, I knew where to come.
With the tiger? What is Oscar? It's a snake.
It's a python. Like I said, I am an exotic dancer. Oscar is my partner. Of course, he's harmless, really. But you'd know that, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yes, of course.
We performed all over Europe, you know. Paris, Hamburg, Marseille, Beirut even.
Dancing.
That's it.
With the, Oscar.
Oh, the customers love it. Poor darling.
What do you do with him?
Well, during my act, I do this very exotic speciality dance as Cleopatra.
With, Oscar as your ass.
That's it. Oscar is the asp. It's rather exotic, don't you think? You see, I disrobe slowly to exotic music. And the climax comes when I'm in the altogether. You know what I mean. And I commit suicide.
With a 12-foot python.
My agent thinks it's a really dramatic finale, with Oscar twining all over my body. Drove them wild in Beirut.
Yes, I'm sure it did. What seems to be the trouble with him?
Well, I think he's caught something.
Caught? An infection? What sort of infection?
Well, from me.
Oh, no, well, I don't think he...
Well, you know, we come into very close contact.
Yes, but even so...
Well, it's his eyes, Doctor. I'm really sick about his eyes. He's going blind.
Yes, will you just hold him for me a moment, please?
Well, they've gone like that in less than a week.
I can't see him. Yes, you'll just take him off, please.
Well, can you do anything for him, Doctor?
Oh, if you'll hold him a moment, I'll have...
Well, he's everything to me. I mean, if anything should happen to him, he's my partner. If he goes blind, I won't be able to work with him anymore.
Hold him very still for me, please. When did he last shed his skin?
Well, it was about a week ago.
And that was when you first noticed the eyes?
Yes.
Well, I don't know much about snakes' physiology, I'm afraid, but if I remember rightly, they have 3 eyelids, and the third one is transparent.
But that's not transparent.
No, but if they don't shed the third eyelid with the old skin, the skin becomes opaque, and,
Well, what's opaque?
well, that's opaque. Hang on a second.
Let me take that.
Hold him very firmly for me. All right. All right. Yeah. Very good. That's a good boy. All right. Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Yes. Yes. There. Darling. Hold steady. Now. There. There we are. No more blindness. No more infection.
Oh, you are marvellous. How can I ever thank you?
Well,
Isn't he marvellous?
Um,